Hi, Professor. In this section, in the second part, I will we will test and check that the application works correctly. So first of thing, I wanted to show you about the IAM rule that we already created. The first one, we created ECR access user through the Terraform, through the Terraform. Yes, if we check ECR, this user has been created, and we gave it the permission to pull and push the images. As you can see, it has policy to pull images and has policy to pull and push the images. So we need it for this user that we already created to push the image into the AWS ECR. In the workflow, you can see this user we already created, and this user will build and push the images into the AWS ECR. So, and yes, and we also have a rule. You can see we have a EC2 ECR role that we already created inside the ECR pool. This rule is for EC2 to be able to pull the images from AWS EC2. So this rule is able to get the images, and we gave this role to the EC2 instance to be able to pull the images. So, okay, AWS ECR, let me, yes, this one I already checked it, so I will show it in a second. So as you can see, let me close these three things. As you can see, I have a ECR repository, my app, and my DB. These repository are deployed through the workflow. The last step, we run the Ansible playbook named deploy. First, AWS EC2. This inventory, this inventory is a dynamic inventory. It means it will get all, because whenever we restart the EC2 instance, the IP address will be changed. This inventory will get the EC2 instance IP dynamically. Even if changed, they will get the new IP address. And when we got this EC2 instance IP, then we run this playbook. In this playbook, we install pip, we install Docker, we install Python 3 pip, then check that this Docker working, and then we install Docker Compose. All these things are done inside the EC2 instance. Then we give it permission. We install AWS CLI. I think this part doesn't need, but I reinstall it to update it. Then we, from inside the EC2 instance, we log in into the AWS ECR. Then we pull the container, pull the images, and when we pull the images, then we Docker Compose down, Docker Compose up. Because since we already installed the Docker Compose up and down, we also copy. Where is the copy part? There's a part about copying. Here, in the Docker, we copy Docker Compose file, this Docker Compose file inside the EC2 instance. So this EC2 instance has this EC2 instance has port 882 open, 883 open, 881 open, and let's connect to it. And it has the role 2. So ls, this Docker Compose already copied here because we already copied from the workflow. And I already connect to this EC2 instance to check everything working correctly. So the next step, it told me to show the uh, to pull the image, MySQL image. So first thing I want to show you the result, to show you that the result, the 3 pages container working properly, and after that I will delete these container images and pull the image to make sure that the EC2 instance be able to pull the image from AWS ECR. So I have to show the result first, because if otherwise, if I delete this image and containers, I won't be able to see the container, the output, the result. So first let's show you the result of the project. So public IP address, open port 881, 882, and 883. So these three containers inside the uh, EC2 instance working properly. So, and please make sure that these three security ports are open: 882, 883, 881, and port 22 also open to connect to EC2 instance. This one doesn't need, I just made a mistake. So right now, if I add a new user, for example, Behzad Alipour, for example, primary skill nothing, location nowhere, and updates. So if I go to another container, 88, you can see the result here. So it shows that all containers are connected to the database container. So they are all in the same network. 88. This is the third container. So these 3 containers are connected uh, to the database container. How? Because of this Docker Compose file. This Docker Compose file created 3 container, my app container and one my DB container. They are all on network 1, and got the information to deploy this Docker Compose from the workflow. The last step, we have permission to connect to AWS. We have the ECR registry information, private key to go inside the EC2 and pass. So all this will be implemented. So the next step, I will delete Docker stop Docker PSQA. I will stop all containers. I will remove all containers. Remove, yes, and I will remove all images. So as you can see, I don't have any images, any container, and any container stuff. So right now I want to pull the image from the AWS ECR. The same thing that we did in the automation. So in the automation, but first we log into the ECR. In order to log into ECR, you have to come here to one of the repository, view push information. So right now we got this for login to from the EC inside the EC2. We log into the AWS ECR. So we paste it here. Login success. Next step is this one. So as you can see, it's pulling the image. We gave it the enough environment. We gave it environment it needs, and at the final Docker Compose up, it shows that the Docker Compose file, this file that is inside the EC2 instance working properly. So it needs environment name EC registry to register and register AWS ECR, DB password, tag name, all things it's this Docker Compose needed: ECR registry, tag name, and password, DB password, for these 3 containers to connect to uh, these 3 app containers connect to the database container. So all this process done through the GitHub workflow, deploy application, set up Python, install dependency, and all other steps. So other job, and this one the other job. So let's wait for pulling the images. When the images are pulled, after that we run the application again to see the containers working properly. After that I log into one of the container and ping the other container. So right now we can see all containers work. So we will test it to make sure it's working. 881. You can see it's working, and I think because I have a consistent volume, I think I can fetch the data. No, the persistent volume. Yes, I have persistent volume, but it doesn't work. I don't know. The persistent volume is have a bug because for some of them work, for some of them doesn't work. But it's not necessary part. I just added. I just implemented extra. So uh, this is the volume persistent volume. So right now, so we saw that the application working on port 882 also works, and all of them, all three, and port 883. So all three is working. So it shows that uh, Docker Compose works. So next thing, I want to log in into uh, into one of these container app1. I should have given it a name, but I didn't. That's fine. Should have given name. So I'm inside each container. First, I need to install ping. So I install the ping to be able to ping. After that, so I ping application my app tree. So I copied its name. So ping container tree. You can see the ping is working. So now I ping the database. It's obviously worked, otherwise we couldn't get the result in UI. So you can see it's also work. So I already connected the database, pull the image, show you the result, application to the internet, hostname, okay, application to the, yes, that's all. Thank you, sir.